Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda. All right, g'day, family. How you going? Saw a few questions in there. How's my dad? Well, I wouldn't know. Guys, I'll tell you, they started out there. All right, we've done a bit of checking out today. We went to see Dad for his 92nd birthday, and well, they sort of were ready for me. I think they weren't letting me in. All right, I refused to put their mask on, so me and Mel couldn't go in and visit my dad. So we've served them, and yeah, we're going to ring them back in the morning and see if they might have changed their mind. But guys, they are ramping up, ready to go. All right. So yeah, there's some good. We've got one on the show tonight, actually, about the remdesivir, and yeah, the hospital where that is will be actually getting an email from me and a few things, which they've already got some. And we'll be seeing how it goes. But guys, what I got to tell you is they are geared up. They got all the stuff in the hospital ready to go. They got all their PPE. It's ready. All right, so it's coming. All right, they're going to try and pull it. And, yeah, it's crazy, guys. So Dad's 72nd birthday, 92nd, sorry, birthday. Didn't see him. Couldn't get in. We did ask him, we were going to hang around. I asked him for some protocols, guys, because she told me I couldn't, film in the foyer. And I said, well, I can, She's gone, no, you can't, because it's in our rules and protocols. I said, well, could you get me a copy then? And she went away, and about 2 hours later, we find out they've rung the police. So we're waiting around for the cops, and cops never turned up, obviously, you know what I mean? But just absolutely ridiculous, guys, all right? All this, a fake virus. Anyway, I'm just letting you know, they are ramping it up, all right? They might pick on me a little bit because of who I am. I don't know, all right? But I'm telling you, it's getting crazy out there, man. They are just fear-mongering. Now, Karen's dropped the case against Elon, all right? But we'll have a bit about Karen on here on the show in a minute, because she's just off her tits too. She is just lost the plot. Okay, she's back down on that one. Now she's picking on other people. And, the stuff to put this chick, you'll see it anyway. But, it was in a public newsletter. But yeah, you can't go sharing that sort of stuff. No.
How do you blow the canvas out with the mask on?
Yeah, I know. Well, look, I had all these questions, but they weren't really going to listen to me. I actually told her about the micron size, guys, of the mask and the influenza bug. And I said, so, it's a bit like taking your shopping trolley down the beach to bring sand home. I said, it just ain't going to work. And she just sort of looked at me, you know what I mean? And I'm going, well, anyway, guys, I'm telling you, all right, we need to stand up because they are coming with their protocols, all right? They're putting everyone into fear. Now, fear-mongering. I just seen some stuff. And like the Snowy Mountains guys, right? They're saying by 2035, like at the moment we can ski in Australia around about 110 days a year, right? That's the average that we get, decent snow on that. So the climate change is that bad now. We've heard all this before, don't forget. We've ramped this right through the ages, but nothing's ever happened. But anyway, here we go. This is the next one. By 2035, they expect us to go from 110 days skiing, and we'll only be able to ski for 35 because that's all the amount of snow that we're going to have, 35 days worth of skiing. But by 2050, it's down to 1 day. That's it. 1 day a year that there's enough snow to actually go and ski. All right? Like, this is what they're putting out there, guys. It's just like, I'm just gobsmacked, right? Okay, so in serious stuff, look, we would have all loved this guy. You grew up with him, John Blackman. Okay, hey, it's Saturday. Little, what was his name? The little guy, Dickie Knee. All right, and a lot of other voiceovers.
You've called me that often enough. You should remember it.
Yeah, I know.
There she goes.
Anyway, yeah, there's Dickie Knee, just dropped in. But, guys, he's passed today, you know what I mean, cancer and that. So, very sad day, I think, because that guy, I don't know whether he was good, bad, or indifferent, guys, but I'll tell you what, I grew up with every Saturday night in front of Hey, it's Saturday night for a lot of years there when I was a young'un. And, it was one brilliant show. I mean, you look at the reruns now, you might pick a few things out, Liberace hanging around there with Jamie Redfern and a few other things. But anyway, we won't go there. Anyway, all right. So, Cazza, come on. I got a bit of stuff up here, but look, one I want to cover. Listen to this. Now, hang around, Caz. Righto. So we've got this clown, right? Called here we go. Here he is. Victorian MP. All right. Where is he? Here he is. David Limbrick. All right. Spoke of his vision for an Australian version of the beloved resort Disneyland, Channel 10's project on Tuesday night, saying he had narrowed down the 3 potential outstanding locations to make it a reality. Now, by the way, the 3 locations are all electorate. Okay, so But guys, this guy wants to bring in a Disneyland. We can't feed people. We got people living in tents. We're breaking down the whole of society, but hang on. Let's put in a Disneyland that no one can even afford to go to anyway. And all you want to do is probably steal our children. So are these guys for real? This is what he's talking about. Put in a Disneyland. Pedo land. Yep, you got it. Anyway, right, okay, so that's it. I wanted to get that one out. I got a few other things there about chips and stuff, but anyway, they poison you with everything, guys. Doesn't matter.
Oh, you're right. Look, I'll just do the house cleaning first. So tomorrow in Echuca, Victoria, will be the 3rd to do a Forest of the Fallen. So, that's at Echuca, Thursday the 6th of June, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Hopwell Gardens. Beyond the Deceptions is on tonight, and so that is at 8 p.m., is it? 8:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. Yeah, and that should be really interesting. On the 13th of July at 5 p.m. at the Anamoga Pub, we've got a Freedom Gathering. Free camping available. They have really good food there too, by the way. Excellent food. And also, We Will Not Be Silenced, the National Workers Alliance, that's Nick Patterson, Damien Richardson, Craig Cole, Stop Mass Immigration and Child Protection, 6:30 on Wednesday the 19th of June, and there's an audience Q&A. So if you're in the area, it's at the Polish Club, so get along to all of those events. All right, you just mentioned e-safety, but the thing about the e-safety, Karen, is this girl, Celine, and the e-safety commissioner has gone after her overnight.
Safety Karen
Oh, really?
Again. So I received this last night, and as you can see here, there was a request made to X from our e-safety commissioner. G'day, Jules. In regards to the video that I made about the Melbourne primary school that had a queer club. Just a reminder that every single screenshot that I shared in that video, including this one, was publicly available. This is the school's newsletter, which anyone can access. But oh no, the person who shared it all packaged it up all nicely into a little video that was easily digestible to anyone who saw it. Cyberbullying. Somehow. And to everyone that was having a go at me on that video about, oh, how dare you attack this woman for providing a safe space for... They have so many other clubs at that school. Couldn't care less. Go to Lego Club, all these other clubs. Queer Club, where the only requirement to be in the club is your sexuality. For children. Get a grip. I've had mixed reviews from people on X. Some people say that they can still see it, and some people say that they can't see it at all. Others say it's only accessible with a VPN. Either way, it's not 100% accessible like it was when I posted it, so how dare I inform Australians about what's going on in Australian schools? What a joke. So yeah, needless to say, I'll be doing whatever I can to try and keep the post up, but if it does end up being removed altogether, this proves my point, doesn't it? We really are captured in this country.
Now, what's actually happened is E. Karen has dropped her lawsuit against Musk. But, oh, no, she had to have a comment about it, didn't she?
In somewhat
we'll get to that Solara in a minute.
Australia's censorship commissar, how did that weigh with you?
Well, he issued a dog whistle to 181 million users around the globe, which resulted in death threats directed at me, which resulted in doxing of my family members, including my 3 children. So I think with great power comes great responsibility, and exercising that restraint in terms of targeting a regulator who is here to protect the citizens of Australia is really beyond the pale. But it's not surprising, given that we've seen him litigate and target and personally tarnish NGOs, academics, and other researchers that dare to criticize the safety of the X platform. So this is his modus operandi. I will not be cowed by those kinds of threats. I'm sure more will come.
Hypocrite, all right.
All right, look at this. I wanted to bring this in. So these are a list of unalienable rights, okay? So unalienable rights means that you can't bring a lien against them, okay? They're yours. Very interesting, okay? So you've got a right to life, freedom, health, happiness, pursuit of health and pursuit of happiness, a right to contract or not to contract, a right to earn a living, right to travel, right to privacy and confidentiality, right to own or hold property lawfully without trespass, right to self-defense, right to due process of law, right to presumed innocence, right to remain silent, right to equality in the eyes of the law, right to trial by jury, right to appeal, right to expose knowledge necessary to one's freedoms, right to peaceful association, which includes a peaceful assembly expression. Okay, it is not us that is in the wrong here. It is not Elon Musk that is in the wrong. Jules, it's you. You're in the wrong.
Jules.
Okay. What you're doing is you're going after people's free speech. I know that the government's paying you a fortune to do it. You're not protecting anybody. All you're doing is at the moment is you're trying to protect yourself, okay, which is your right to do so, but not at our expense. Right to love, right to consensual marriage, right to security from abuse, right to refuse or to kill, and a right to live in peace and be left alone when law abiding. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So I think that's I think that's basically what it.
Okay, and in that we just ask for everything there, and the cover of the peace of the Lord for Solara's brother tomorrow if he's got to face brain surgery, guys. So we just ask God's will to be done, and I'm sure that God's will be exactly what God wants. So yeah, we cover him in prayer, Solara. Thank you.
Now we have an interesting article here, and it's calling on thee Minister for Corrections, and he must come clean on the job losses. So why are they losing jobs in the correctional facilities area when they seem to be arresting everybody? Now, also, we've heard an interesting rumour. We've heard that the maximum security one that is situated in Goulburn has
Supermax.
Supermax, yeah. It's actually they're actually it's been cleaned out and it's been painted out, almost like they're waiting for new arrivals. I wonder what that would be.
I put out a request. I put out a request for a blue roof, guys, in our cell. By the way, just letting you know. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh dear. All right, Bob Catter, he's come out and he's talking about puts a very succinct argument forward about the digital ID. Oh, sorry, cashless.
Don't you realise that if you eliminate cash, then you will have to get permission off your bank manager to buy a loaf of bread? In actual fact, the common law has recognised, as has the written laws of Australia, that a banknote is a legal tender. You are obliged to take that banknote. As you yourself, Mr. Speaker, and I advised the refectory in this place. Now, to spell it out boldly and bluntly, without any equivocation, is absolutely necessary. And I commend the member for Calare in bringing this bill forward. It is definitely something whose time has arrived. It is
yes, it is something whose time has arrived.
Look, we're doing well. I was talking about it on the space today, and yeah, we're we got the cash flowing back around, and that's why they're coming in pretty hard, guys, with Bank West, and different things, and taking this cash flow out by the end of the year like they'd like to. But that's not going to happen. They're pushing hard for it. They're going to get everyone in the fear factor, guys. That's what they're about. They want everyone to live in fear. Well, guess what? We don't fear nothing.
That's exactly right.
Nothing you threatens it, not anyway.
We are having so many wins at the moment, though, because you've got this gaslighting happening, mysterious cloud formation over City, which
it's a new type of formation, Cass. You haven't seen them before. They're
it's crazy. But here's the thing: is that it's actually starting to hit the mainstream media in Australia, and that is that this is from the Telegraph. And so COVID jabs may be to blame for excess deaths. Oh yes.
Why do they use the word may? Well, we could probably take that out there, guys, and just then continue the sentence. All right, just remove the may, because it is the problem, the bioweapon.
That's right. Now, also we've got is the whole Fauci thing that's going on. There's memes everywhere. I didn't include them. I meant to include them, but it was just I just didn't get around to it really. But here's the thing: is that these things now there's so now this is March 2020, and it was to Dr. Fauci, and it was advising him that the hydroxychloroquine was effective in China. Yet he went out of his way to sideline any talk of hydroxychloroquine. So he was informed in March, and China was using the hydroxychloroquine while he was distributing the mRNA vaccine.
Bioweapons.
So, the bioweapons.
Don't let the truth get in front of a good death, And then, then we've got and I tell you, it's going to be seen as the remdesivir killing fields, guys. I'm telling you, I'm calling that name out, all right? And I'm telling you, that's it. It's the remdesivir killing fields.
Well,
and everyone will know the relationship.
Yeah, no, on that, we've actually got this. Will I play that first?
Put it on. Yes. Yeah, put it on. I'm going to send this to Colin.
What was happening early on. They kept telling us all of our patients were dying of COVID. It was not COVID that was killing any of these patients. It was the complete and total medical mismanagement of COVID. It was the remdesivir ventilator death wash, rinse, repeat. This is what we were seeing over and over happen in these hospitals. And I'm far from the only nurse that can tell you this. I know that you've interviewed Nicole Siratek. She could tell you what was happening in hospitals that she was at. Nurse Erin, same thing. So it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see what has become of this.
Can I share something with you? I thought I know a lot. I mean, I've had name a doctor, Dr. Judy Mikovits, Dr. Brian Artis. I mean, I've literally been brought up since 14 Days to Flatten the Curve by some of our top frontline professionals, period. Doctors, lawyers, everyone. But Nicole yesterday stunned me. You know what she said? And I want you to emphasize this point, and we're going to say it to this audience too. She said they ordered 35,000 ventilators. She goes, how come they didn't order an equal number of feeding tubes?
Interesting. That's a good point.
I was stunned by that. I'm like, That's absolutely right. And she broke it down. She said, you can't put somebody on a ventilator without a feeding tube. They're going to starve to death. They will die.
Correct.
And that is an indisputable fact, is it not?
Yeah.
Wow.
I agree with her 100%. To see what was happening with, placing these patients on the ventilators. And again, they kept telling us, they have all of the nurses scared to death telling us all of our patients are dying of COVID. Listen, if they were dying of the virus alone, why weren't we pulling bodies from homes? Why weren't we pulling bodies off of the streets if you think about our homeless population? The only place anybody was dying was in our hospitals. And it's because they were dying of the treatments. They were dying of the treatment, the medical mismanagement of COVID. The remdesivir was poisoning people. We were shutting down their organs. We were placing them on ventilators. Then they're getting secondary bacterial infections, and they are succumbing to those. They're getting blood clots because they're not being ambulated properly. We couldn't even get doctors and PT up on the floor to ambulate patients. People were too afraid. It was mostly just the nurses, and then the doctors would either come and let's look through the glass windows of the ICU and take the nurse's report. They were not going in and putting their hands. But a problem that was happening that people aren't talking about enough is how we were intubating patients, not because they were in distress, but in an effort to contain the virus. They were pushing for early intubation, knowing that 80% of the patients, or even more, 80% or more of those patients that were placed on a ventilator never made it off.
And we knew, because we played, I think, at least 12 months ago, maybe even longer, we played that thing where they said remdesivir, and the nurses referred to it as run, death is near. So that's what they referred to it. So they all knew. You know, a whistleblower now is coming out 12 months later, like 18 months later.
Run, death is near. That's exactly right. It's just incredible, guys. That is just criminality, and they're all complicit. All the hospital staff. Complicit. That's why we've served them today. Yeah.
They are complicit indeed. Look, here's Dan Bongino's thing, and he's basically it was about election stealing, and he's correct.
6 foot distance rule, folks. Stay 6 feet apart. 6 feet. Was that going to actually stop transmission of the virus? No. Where did the rule come from? I don't know. We made it up. He notes the 6 foot distance rule was interim proposed by the CDC in February of 2020 and became permanent in March. This CDC has the receipt there from March of 2020, shows the CDC specifically pushed mail-in voting for the election 8 months away from the very start of the rules. Folks, it was right in front of our eyes the entire time. They understood mail-in balloting was prone to fraud. They freaking wrote about it, and they knew it was the easiest way to steal the most important election of our lifetime. So what did they do? They had to keep the COVID hysteria going no matter what. Put your masks on. It's going to kill you. Get this vaccine. Force this vaccine. 6 foot distancing. Don't show up in person. They could not let the hysteria ebb. This was all one big mother scam. The entire thing. Oh, the virus is real. The response was a total scam. And they also wanted to blame Trump for it. They knew if this thing and its genesis in the Wuhan lab, that if it came from China, and that Donald Trump had called it from the start. When he indicated this was from China, they knew that would be a destructive narrative for them because Donald Trump had been talking about the danger of China the entire time. So they hid the lab leak because it was about following the money and following the power.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Now, on top of that, what has actually also come out is the
Yeah, so very sorry to hear that, Tracy. Yeah. He's in a better place now, Tracy, is all I'm going to say, But yeah, so sorry to hear that it's another one, that the government's killed. It's as simple as that, guys. Australia, stand up. This is wrong. We should be looking after our old people. This is wrong. Anyway, we're doing our best. I know that. Sorry, I don't mean that way, but yeah, far out. Okay. All
right, so we've got also the fact checkers, where it has largely been funded by the pharmaceuticals, and it's actually made mainstream.
Facebook's independent fact checker may not be so independent after all. A US congressman has questioned the impartiality of factcheck.org, which is supposed to tackle vaccine disinformation because it's indirectly funded by jab manufacturer Johnson & Johnson.
Who pays the paychecks of the fact checkers? The vaccine fact checkers at factcheck.org, who claim to be independent, are funded by an organisation that holds over $1.8 billion of stocks in a vaccine company and is run by a former director of the Centers for Disease Control.
The fact-checking account responded to the accusations by making clear its funding sources. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation's one of the benefactors and holds billions in Johnson & Johnson stock. The foundation's CEO is Richard Besser, who was a former acting director of the Centre for Disease Control. But factcheck.org claims there's no interference in its editorial decisions, and the foundation's views aren't necessarily reflected in its decisions. But author and liberal studies expert Michael Rechtenwald believes such connections pose risks to the public.
This is absolute collusion on the part of vaccine manufacturers having funding the fact checkers on social media. So we're actually getting to the point where people's lives are being endangered. We've lost all confidence in the social media and our mainstream media entirely. Anything that comes into contradiction with the leftist agenda is deemed misinformation. People are now not able to get information about what's best for their health, including the detriments of the vaccine.
Well, fact check that, because I'm just not sure what it actually means. Okay.
All right, we've had a Russian city struck overnight. Alex Jones weighed into it.
Attacking European cities, and they're saying that because the West does have a parity of missiles, that they can't use their conventional missiles to destroy all the EU missile sites that are hitting them. So they're going to use nuclear weapons. And they've already said, we're picking tactical points. They said on Russian TV, the authorization of Putin yesterday, they said, NATO, we know you got this main missile base in this city of Poland, and we're telling you we would probably start advising Polish people to leave that city. This has been the primary target as a demonstration of nuclear weapons. We're not going to do total commitment on you. And then they list like 5 or 6 different cities in Poland, and they say those are all targets of your weapon caches, and we're going to knock your weapon caches out. But we've been following those, and so we just want you to know that. And if it's your choice to fire nukes back, we'll have full commitment. So.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, Douglas McGregor, he's weighed into it as well. So they were hit with Western military weapons. Okay, so inside of the Russian city, and he's actually said NATO is now planning to get US troops to the front line to fight Russia. Yep. What are they thinking? NATO has disclosed its preparations to deploy American troops. The innovative land corridors are being established to expedite the movement of soldiers through Central Europe, bypassing local bureaucratic hurdles. So this is basically what they're trying. They're really trying to get us into a World War III scenario because Ukraine is pretty much it's done and dusted. So
done and dusted. Yeah. Yep, that's why they got to keep pushing this propaganda bullshit and all this crap they're going to go on with, you know what I mean? But they're going to push too, you know. NATO ain't going to like go down that quick, guys. Obviously, we know they're under pressure and they are going down, but it's going to be a hard push.
Yeah, it's a death battle. Look, we've also got this one that I forgot to do earlier because I don't have a subscription, but new rental standards are to sting landlords. So they're actually forcing them to upgrade their properties. Which is a lot of people are still a lot of landlords are actually still struggling to actually make the payments as well on their properties. Now we have this. Remember, we've covered Maui in detail. However, the Maui Fire Battalion chief is accused of child sex assault indicted. So this is incredible. Is it just a coincidence that everywhere there's a disaster, there's also people indicted for sexually assaulted children?
Yes, they are getting caught and cleaned up. And, you know, as I say, there's still no one off Epstein's list that's gone down yet. But anyway, we're waiting. And in the meantime, it's about us, guys. We are your own leader. All right, get out there and do your stuff. I'm interested.
All right. I'll really like this. This is really cool because I think this is me.
Probably would have done it.
I probably would have done it too. I would have taken the face.
Tomboys used to be able to grow up without being told that they were in the wrong body, that there was something wrong with them.
Tomboys used to simply be tomboys. Nothing more, nothing less. It was perfectly acceptable to just be.
I had the chance.
I had the chance to grow up, to find myself, to become secure in my womanhood.
But that's not the case today.
Today, all across the world, little girls who are tomboys are being brainwashed to believe that if they are not girly girls, then they were born in the wrong body.
They're being told if they don't fit the mold, they must be trans.
This is wrong, and we are here to stop it.
These little girls need our help. They are not born in the wrong body. There is nothing wrong with them. They are perfect as they are.
To all the young tomboys out there,
we see you.
Don't let anyone tell you that you were born in the wrong body.
You are beautiful, you are loved, and you are a strong young woman.
Save the tomboys.
Save the tomboys.
I knew plenty of tomboys when I was a kid. You know, there was plenty of tomboys. The girls skated with us. They surfed, you know what I mean? We give them a bit of a ribbon, but it didn't mean they were kinky.
No, well, the thing is that, I mean, if you like sports and you like doing things, then of course you are going to gravitate towards the boys because that's what boys did. You know, girls had a tendency to play inside with dolls. That was boring. This is really good. This is a report by Greg Reese about the royal family of the Czars, and he actually mentions some stuff that I didn't know.
Started in the 1400s, the Russian monarchy was based on the second letter to Thessalonians, where Paul speaks of a restrainer who holds back evil. As long as there was a Christian czar on earth, the dark powers of the Antichrist would not come to power. Symphonia is the orthodox relationship between the church and the state, where the state protects the church and the church protects the state from falling into sin and heresy. In 1916, after the Russian Civil War, known as the Time of Troubles, the Russians elected Michael Romanov, 16 years of age, as Tsar of Russia, and the Romanov family ruled from 1613 until 1917. During this period, Russia prospered. They became more focused on Christianity and promoted it worldwide through missionary work. While Christianity was the main religion, there were Jews, Muslims, and pagans who were free to practice their own religion. The only religion that was made illegal was the Talmudic worshiping Jews, because the Talmudic traditions were seen as anti-Christian and in complete opposition of their spiritual goals. These anti-Christian philosophies infiltrated the country when Freemasonry migrated to Russia in the mid-1700s. The Freemasons taught that the traditional Christian values upheld by the dynasty were outdated and were keeping Russia from competing with the West. Liberal ideas were introduced, such as misogyny, because women weren't allowed to be Freemasons, which became so popular that if you were a noble person, you had to be a Freemason. And Freemasonry taught that all religions can be one, and therefore the Russian Orthodox Symphonia must be abolished. The Tsar stood strongly against this, and so the idea of revolution was introduced. During the industrialization of the 1800s, factories became home to Masonic revolutionary ideas. And in 1917, the revolution began, and the royal family was taken prisoner. The family was taken from their home to a stone house several miles away on the highest point of the Ural Mountains, called Ascension Hill, and murdered. According to the official narrative, they were executed by a firing squad in the basement, but according to the evidence, they were murdered in a very dark, ritual manner. According to the investigation of the Orthodox Church, the murderers themselves, and the material evidence, this is what happened on the night of July 17th, 1918. The stone house was known by the Bolsheviks to be a place where evil acts have taken place in the past. It was prepared ahead of time, and the murder involved 11 assassins and 11 victims: the Tsar, his wife, the 4 daughters, the son, and 4 servants. The number 11 is believed to be based on the 11 apostles who remained after Judas betrayed Christ. These 11 people were taken into the basement. They were shot in the knees, and they were stabbed with bayonets. And during all of this, their mouths were gagged to quiet their screams. In their memoirs, the murderers wrote it was so bad that they were vomiting. The bodies were then wrapped up in white linen, placed into the back of a truck, and kept alive as they were driven to a swampy area outside of the city. They were finally murdered by being hung upside down to drain their blood. They were beheaded, their teeth removed, and their bodies chopped into pieces. The body parts were partially dissolved in acid and then burned. Eggs were boiled, sprinkled with ash from the burnt linens which were soaked in royal blood, and consumed at the crime scene. The Tsar's head was placed into a jar, preserved in alcohol, and shipped to Moscow. In the 1920s, the Romanov family diaries were released by the Bolsheviks. They showed the Tsar to be an honorable man, highly intelligent, involving political affairs, and a devout Christian. As if part of the ritual, this brought shame to the Russian people who were turned against the Tsar through Marxist propaganda. The Federal Reserve System, the Rothschilds, and the British Round Table opposed the Tsar and the traditional Christian policies that stood in the way of their plans for world domination. And many Russians see the murder of Tsar Nicholas II as a necessary precursor to the New World Order, which began proliferating after his death. Tsar Nicholas II is now a saint in the Russian Orthodox Church, and millions of Russian Orthodox Christians believe they need to repent for allowing the dynasty to be destroyed.
That was really good.
Yeah,
Wow.
I did not know that. Now, there's a couple of things there too as well. Now, what had actually happened is Tsar Nicholas, it was Tsar Nicholas that saved saved America. They actually had a really good working relationship with them. Not only that, that was in the War of Independence. He was the one that sent his ships over to basically stop blockade the British. Not only that, what had happened was he was investigating America, and he had his envoys go there, and they traveled all around America to give a report to him. He was very close to actually, because he saw how good it was for America, and he was worried about his own people, that he was very close to bringing in his own constitution and formulating it like a United States. And that's why they had to basically get rid of him.
Mate, I never knew that the Thessalonians, the letter to the Thessalonians, actually had that. Yeah.
No, I did not know a lot of that stuff either. And it was just like, how did I not know this? I read about the Romanovs for years. So it was it's an excellent report. But yeah, I know that the Romanovs have been invited by Putin to return to Russia, and incidentally, a lot of them ended up here in Australia. So what happened was the royal family, because the royal families are all related, so a lot of the Romanovs escaped through to China because China borders Russia. And I've been told that I did not know this, that the Mings were actually Christian as well, and and they helped them, and they got on junks and they out of Hong Kong, and they came down to Australia. And so we ended up with a lot of Romanovs here.
It's history's, they can't keep it from us. They tried, but we're all too smart, right? There's always people breaking stuff down and putting it together. And Yeah, it's and that's sad, man, what they done to the Romanovs. That is just like, we all knew it was, but I never knew that about the letter to the Church of Thessalonians. Anyway, I'll look at that. That's blowing me out. Yep. Whilst ever we have a czar, we were okay. There you go.
Yeah, that's why they had to get rid of them. So, all right. Oh, we're actually at 40. All right. Let me go and see if we've got. I really want to share this. Okay, I really want to share this. Can we just go?
Oh, sure.
I've been finally given permission to discuss the work that I do on a contractor basis with a government agency regarding the investigation, research, and development of what's called a temporal adjudicator. I'm putting some of the schematics up, and this is an incredibly rare and interesting picture of the portal that is created by the adjudicator. Basically, the adjudicator not only allows someone to move through time in actually a very limited sense. You can't go incredibly far into the future, and you can't go very, very far back either way, but you can go essentially a few years in either direction. They're allowing this to happen, especially on the social media platform, not on anything that is sort of mainstream in terms of media outlets, because, well, they really have a policy, whether it's UAPs and aliens or something like the temporal adjudicator, of telling the truth. And what they bank on, what they completely expect, is that it will be dismissed, ridiculed, marginalized, ignored, and they still then have the moral stance that they have told the truth, and you guys just didn't believe it. So that's why I'm not going to spend any time trying to convince anybody of its veracity. I'm just telling you about my experience. So here's me going through it. And what's interesting about it is not only can it go forward and backwards in time a few years, it can actually go anywhere in your current timeline in terms of location. So it basically eliminates the need for trains, planes, and automobiles. You can basically go to, this beach in the Maldives, anywhere you want to go. It's simply an adjustment on the adjudicator technology that allows you to go. I mean, that's actually how the technology first got developed, was trying to just simply create a technology that allowed, essentially like a Star Trek beam me up Scotty, transferring someone from one place to another. It was then later found that through basically the synchronization of certain wavelengths on the adjudicator, that you could affect a movement away or beyond.
I know we like a bit of weird news, and of course we can't verify that, but I just wanted to include it because I like a bit of weird stuff.
Listen, anything is possible, guys. We've been lied to about everything, and we all know it, right? What's real, what's not. Yeah, I want one too. Yeah, that'd be cool. But anyway, yeah, look, who knows, guys? It's we know teleporting can happen. So, anyway, if anyone needs to, I'll go and do an experiment for you. No worries. We'll check it out. I'll be keen for that. Anyway. All right. Well, guys, that's it. Another wacky Wednesday comes to an end. All right. Go and watch Beck tonight. I think the Blues are playing. So, if you're into that, go to the Blues. I haven't seen anything like that for a long time, guys, but
bit of controversy there.
Do know that's on, the Blues and the cockroaches in the Anyway, all right, guys, have another great day tomorrow.
There's
all right,
another girl we've got to pray for.
All right, having brain surgery tomorrow as well.
And apparently Dazzle is not doing well, so guys, pray for her, please.
No,
oh man,
let's just pray for God's children.
Yeah, Lord, look after everyone, Father. It's in your hands, Lord. Everything's out of our hands. We just give it to you because we know you know what's got to happen, Father. So anyway, guys, look, thanks again for joining us. To all the new viewers that are coming in and having a look. This is just what we do, guys. All right. We just try and tell what we do. We tell the truth. And we just make the mainstream media, hopefully go back on their heels and have to start telling the truth with us. Good night once again, people. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you. We've got Holly Ara taking us out. She's done a clip on being a dad. It's awesome.
The greatest gift. Being a father, being a dad is the greatest job. It's the greatest gift. It's the greatest experience of life. I can't think of anything that I like to do more than be a dad. I can't think of anything that I want to go do on my weekends and hang out with my kids. I can't think of anything that I want to do more than be with my family. Like being a father, being a dad is without question the greatest gift, the greatest blessing that I've ever experienced in life.